Wonderful Precure episode 2. This episode is somehow even better than the first one was. We start right where episode 1 left off, with Iroha having an existential crisis about her dog suddenly becoming human. I love how rational she tries to be about this, immediately backing up and asking, how exactly? She's really not beating the detective allegations. Komugi does her best to explain, but she clearly does not care, and is instead just happy to be here. Good for her, honestly, she's adorable. This is about when the sheep stands up. Iroha freaks out about it, but once again, Komugi is unperturbed. I honestly don't think she has an actual baseline for normal, especially not what normal is like with higher brain function. Her logic is, if I'm standing and talking, the sheep doing that is no big deal. She would be correct if, in fact, her standing and talking wasn't a huge deal. But it is. She manages to convince Iroha anyway. Iroha is blinded by Komugi's enthusiasm of just being able to talk with each other. Fair, in all honesty, they're adorable. The sheep's name is Meme, and he is apparently a butler. I'm going to guess he's supposed to serve whoever Nico-sama is. His personality is not what I was expecting at all, but he made me laugh every time he was talking, so I guess I'm alright with it. He's, how do I even describe this man's vibes? Belligerent? Insistent? Just kinda annoyed? Something for sure. I can't wait to get to know this strange sheep man better. Another thing about Meme that I thought was great was his exposition. See, usually mascots like Meme are full of answers. They know the Precure legends, they know who the baddies are, and they know what everyone is supposed to be doing, even when logically they shouldn't. Meme, though? Dude knows absolutely nothing, other than the fact that Precure exist. And also a few things about the Nico Garden. Heck, Komugi was even the one to name the Garugarus. Meme didn't even know what the Wonderful Pact was. What I'm saying is, the detective theory keeps gaining evidence. Something I found incredibly interesting was the information that becoming a Garugaru has lasting damage even after being hug purified. Usually everything is fine immediately, but here? Nope, there's consequences. I love this choice a lot. It also further justifies them not directly attacking the animals, since anything they do to hurt them will continue to hurt them after being purified. This is honestly incredible. Hey, it's the Nico trunk. We also don't get any explanation about that at this time either. You know, everyone was complaining that this season would be far more childish than recent seasons, but I have to hand it to Wonderful. They actually trust their audience to figure stuff out from context. Polar opposite of Delicious Party. I can still hear the narrator's voice. Komugi is hungry and complains about this to Iroha, much like the puppy she actually is. They go home with the conundrum of how exactly they're going to keep Komugi's whole thing a secret from Iroha's parents, because oh yeah, Meme is a fan of secrets. To be fair, I also love secret identities. They're stupid but endlessly entertaining. Side note, I am so glad they are not doing the she turns back into a dog when she gets hungry thing. They did it with Ciel in Kira Kira and it was dumb, and it was even dumber when they did it with Elle in Hirogaru Sky. Thank goodness it seems to be an at-will thing, or at least until she's too tired to keep it up anymore. That actually makes sense. While Komugi sleeps, Iroha thinks back on the day's events and also gives us some backstory flashbacks, because of course, Komugi isn't a shelter dog or a breed dog. She's literally a puppy Iroha picked up off the streets. I didn't really doubt Komugi's love of Iroha, but this really makes it feel more concrete. Iroha is the one who saved her life and gave her a warm home and family. Of course she loves her. Hey, Komugi can talk in dog form too! I'm not surprised, they've gotta sell those talking dog plushies somehow. I love how she calls Iroha's mom. It really amps up the sisters vibe here. So far, the dynamic between Iroha and human Komugi really does feel like a pair of sisters, with Iroha being the older one. It's lovely, I love it. Mayu returns, and so does her social anxiety. Yuki is not present physically, but Mayu talks about her enough that it sure feels like she is. Mayu is, as predicted, a doting cat owner who thinks her cat is the cutest thing in the world. I can relate. Funnily enough, it seems that she's more comfortable talking to adults than she is to people her own age. She was a little nervous, but still managed to have a little conversation with Iroha's dad, but as soon as Satoru walked in, she avoided him entirely. Same with Iroha, really, even if she did do a little minor stalking. Iroha, trying to run alongside Komugi and Daifuku, is downright adorable, and also showcases her ability to get tired like a normal person. Good for her. Also, they sort of imply that they do this whole thing often, so it makes me wonder how close Komugi and Daifuku are as animal friends. If Daifuku ever does gain the incredible power of speech, I'd like to see his and Komugi's dynamic a little more. Speaking of dynamics, they've given Satoru and Iroha another scene to themselves. This one doesn't have as obvious of romantic undertones, but it was still cute. It was great from a character building perspective, if nothing else, since we learned their animal-related dreams, and also that Iroha is a terrible liar. Girl has had this secret for a single day and is already on the verge of spilling everything. I get it, though. As Iroha pointed out, Satoru would be the perfect person to let in on it, what with his animal knowledge. But Meme said no, so... Still, Satoru's understanding face when he told her she could tell him things if she needed, man, I would've cracked right there. It's Garugaru time, baby, and just like we saw in the episode preview, it's a giant ostrich this time. Points for creativity, I would never have thought of using that animal specifically. Komugi gets a whole mini transformation sequence to turn back into a human, and then mere moments later she's transformed into Cure Wonderful again. She had this little thing of not wanting to do Precure if Iroha couldn't do it with her, but she could tell that Iroha wanted to help the ostrich, much like she'd helped Komugi before, so who is she to refuse her that? Ah, I love how cute their dynamic is. The fight with the ostrich, much like last episode, is not really a fight. Wonderful does actually get knocked around a bit more this time, though. Still, she's mostly chasing the ostrich, trying to tire it out. Though, she's not exactly doing great on her own. Anyone who knows anything about ostriches knows that those suckers are fast. Iroha joins the chase, thinking to herself about how much she loves Komugi and how she doesn't want to see her hurt. We get this montage of flashback images of the two of them growing up together, and it's... Guys, this show is gonna give me cavities, it's so sweet. I'm so glad my cat decided to come and snuggle me for this part. I haven't cried yet, but I have a feeling it's only a matter of time. Maybe this season will actually make me cry more than the usual once. Who knows? Because of this, the Mirror Stone, oh yeah, that thing, sends out another wonderful pact, and Iroha is able to transform into Cure Friendy. Before she does, though, we get this neat, slow moment. So far in these 2 episodes, I've admired this season's ability to just let things sit for a little while, and let their viewers figure out what the characters are feeling instead of having it spelled out for them. In this moment, we can feel right along with Iroha as she realizes what this is and what it means for her, and she knows she's about to transform. She looks at Komugi, resolving to join her. It's a great moment with no words needed to understand her emotions. Her transformation is just as short as Wonderful's, but man, Friendy's is so cool! Her eyes and hair transformation especially. I don't even mind the length this time, it was great! Wonderful's reaction to Friendy was about the same as mine. She's the Cure I was most excited for going into this season, so when she was just chanting her name, I was right there with her. She is easily stopped with a hand, though, since she is still a trained dog. I hope that's an ongoing bit, it's so funny. The Garugaru is still a problem, and so the chase resumes, this time with 2 Precure in pursuit. Friendy discovers that she is fast, and uses that to keep chasing it, I guess. She keeps up with it, though, which is better than earlier when she couldn't keep up with her dog and her friend's rabbit. Friendy adds another tool to their arsenal, talking out your problems. It doesn't actually work as well as hugs seem to, but I like that instead of fighting physically, they're actually showing other methods of conflict resolution in its place. They use a combination of talking and hugs to take down the ostrich, and revert it to its normal form. It actually looks like a regular ostrich, though it just says Nico Nico instead of whatever sound an ostrich makes. You know, I actually don't know what their call sounds like. Something to look into later, I guess. The ostrich is in distress because, as previously mentioned, being transformed into a Garugaru actually has health implications. They manage to summon Meme back from the Kiraniko trunk, and he drops the bomb that the trunk is not just a little pocket dimension like the bags in Heal and Good, but instead it is straight up a portal to the Nico Nico Garden. We're going to the Nico Nico Garden in episode 3. It usually takes a lot longer than that to get to the magical otherworld. wow, Wonderful really isn't pulling any punches. Well, except real punches, but they have a good reason for that. That's about where the episode ends, too. Man, already this season is being really good at making you want more. 2 cliffhangers in a row feels a little mean, but I can't begrudge its effectiveness. So, thoughts. I loved this episode. More than the first one by a margin I seriously did not expect. It was hilarious, nicely paced, and every moment seemed to be furthering either plot, fleshing out characters and dynamics, or both. I seriously don't expect this season to keep up this sort of quality constantly, but gosh, if it did, it would be one of the best seasons for me, hands down. So far, the characters are incredibly charming, and already fairly fleshed out, even besides the mains. Satoru and Mayu specifically have each been given their own scenes in these 2 episodes, despite it obviously not being their time to shine just yet. When they do get their time in the limelight, it's gonna be fantastic. Also, I have to say, the detective theory has only gotten stronger. If Friendy isn't called a detective directly at least once, I will be very upset. I am, if possible, even more excited for next week. If they manage to keep this up all year, I'm not gonna sleep very well. Until next time!